That's a gestation period right there.
Yeah, it's like we were giving birth to the 6-gamer right now.
It's a boy. Okay, here we go. Game number 6. It's a bro. Wait, there's a sibling? Wait, do you have to? Yeah, you do. So it must be a second one. We need a second one, otherwise it's not a bro. Or a sis, you know? Okay, that's enough of that particular joke, as the Varus and the Rumble are both banned away already. But last couple of times we had those bans traded. Actually, now they're traded again, so never mind.
Okay, let's see how many top bans.
Yeah. Ash. 1 so far, Wolf.
Yeah,
That's
Ash
2
top not really
Archer
been
bans,
played at
though.
the moment. I think we're just going to see the Lulu ban again, probably, for QMDRX.
Well, Rumble Oriana were the bans every single time over the last couple of games. Anj and Brion, this time though, have swapped sides. So they'll have first pick for the very first time in this series. See what is going to be prioritized.
I'm curious if Aurora gets a look here. Skarner, okay.
Interesting.
Pretty smart. With how well Willer's been playing today too. Bit of a threatening pick. First pick, Lulu seems really strong.
I don't mind,
because like there's still the Nefiri, right? There's still a lot of picks that work well with it. It's the best like range support that's left here. We have no Bard, no Milio, no Karma.
If Jarvan is left up though, that will be first picked, right? With the amount of junglers that are already like fearlessly banned, Skarner is also gone. It does feel like the Jarvan is pretty powerful.
Another range support that I didn't really have in my mind, is it has not been doing that well as of late, but
yeah, I don't think that is much of a ban, to be perfectly honest. But casting, just looking for Jarvan. Let's see whether... Oh, never mind.
Oh, they said it's Teddy's time, though.
Honestly, you get to game number 3. I think giving Teddy first pick makes a lot of sense. And they are considering it. It will put Jarvan over the other side, which is a little bit of a scary scenario, but maybe Gideon has a plan in mind.
Oh.
Maybe a certain hammer-wielding
What is the plan going to be in the bottom lane? Because Lux is a Caitlyn exclusive, but that's another range support that is available and that I think they absolutely will be playing here. I think the Jarvan is pretty obvious, but what comes next, I think they're using the Jarvan here lock-in to like think more about what they want to do next. As Jhin.
Okay, Jarvan Jhin. So we're not going to have any Lulus this game, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Oh, that's a lot of Jays. We could get back to the Jays conversation.
No, they hate it when we do that. They really hate it. They jaded.
They jaded? No, they couldn't.
As Elise for Namgung instead of the Lux, this is a kind of Lehen special with the Caitlyn, as Namgung is arguably the best Elise player in the LCK right now, believe it or not. But
yeah, he's found a lot of success on it.
I think into Jhin, it's pretty good. And if he's just not that comfortable on Lux, I mean, play what you know.
I think Elise is a fantastic combo with the Caitlyn as well. You land a cocoon.
We've seen it so many times.
They're stunned for forever. And no support lock-in here for Andal as well. They just slam the Yorick, Rich making sure that he gets that matchup on the top side.
This is
and I can feel Joker's anxiety from here.
Yeah, this is going to get a little bit weird. I wonder if Andal ends up playing like Leona or something in this draft and they try to turn into more of a dive and engage comp where the Jhin falls up from super far away. Maybe even like Silas is a possibility here for UCal with this type of draft. So we're going super deep down the aggressive dive champion pool now. I mean, Ahri, Jarvan is kind of a thing, but Pantheon will be banned away. There's the Leona I was hinting at.
They're listening to you, Wolf. Yeah, Leona is a decent choice.
I mean, like, Alistar feels horrible here. I don't think that's ever going to be on the cards.
Alistar, Jhin, into Caitlyn Elise just sounds so blue.
But, like, what do we have left? Rakan Jhin?
Oh, no.
It's not a lot. As that Nefiri I mentioned will also be banned away. Gideon, because he did not take the Jarvan, is kind of finding himself at limited options.
No, I think he's just going to play Poppy. He's like probably one of the best Poppies that we have in the LCK.
Certainly can work.
I feel like it'd be all right, at least.
kind of a bit of a good setup here as well with the Elise, as the Twisted Fate will be taken away. So are we throwing down the dive comp here, or are we changing this comp into a scaling comp and we just put Victor on the mid lane and say, well, we changed the game?
What about Janna Jin?
No.
For the Triple J's. Shout-outs to the Australian...
No.
This is exactly what Wolf said not to do!
I was most worried about this. This is most concerning.
That's not Jin Janna. All right. What are we playing? Roma? And also, what is Gideon playing? Will he be locking in the Poppy? That is my question. And look, we saw it coming from a billion miles away.
He is a great Poppy player.
And this is comfort for, like, everyone right now as well, as with Namgung and his Elise, with the Poppy for Gideon.
Yeah, Teddy's,
the pros in the zone.
As I'm still trying to figure out what the Talon meme is, but...
Apparently, Assassin's Creed Black Flag is, like, getting remade or something like that. That's what I heard.
Okay, they're going to take the Silas with the Alistar face up.
I mean, honestly, why wouldn't you if they just hand it to you on a silver platter?
Yukal's probably thinking, but I was interested in playing that.
I wanted to steal my own support's ultimate.
Is it just a Victor angle and this Jarvan Jin comp becomes a scaling comp? Okay, he goes Victor. So, Akali or Silas, or what's the plan? This is really tough. Mel.
Taliyah.
Not sure about this one.
It does help you with like heroic charge and stuff like that from the Poppy.
It helps the York.
I mean, Poppy's so good just because, like, if you're trying to ride your wall, Poppy just says no. Anytime you go by, like, you have to make sure that you're walling in a very specific way to get the value when there is a Poppy on the enemy team. And Taliyah isn't a massive amount of damage. I do feel like KRX are going to struggle to do the hurting of the enemy champions.
Yeah, I think they're also going to struggle to close the gap on the enemy champion. Sure, they have a Jarvan and an Alistar here with the Jin, but I mean, there's a Poppy here, right? The Jace is going to do so much damage from range. The Caitlyn is already high range in general. And Namgung is going to be very threatening. The fact that they have the Poppy Elise jungle is so problematic for the Alistar, who's just quite easy to punish, quite easy to find, and if you can pop his ult early, then you kind of win the upcoming fight. As Teddy is ready to deliver the moment.
Oh, that's
in his
really
Hanjin
cool.
truck.
All right, let's see whether KRX can stop the delivery. Can they deny it? Can they slam the door in the faces of Hanjin Brion?
A 6 win in a row on a 6-gamer for Bro is on the cards if they could take this draft.
And 5th place is there as well. With a 2-1 victory, they will tie D plus Kia for it. However, they will still make it to 5th place and really challenge for that final Legend Group spot. 2 of them have already gone over to KT and Harmalife Esports, and the Bros desperately need this. All right, fans in full voice here today in our final game of the day, Uncharted 2026 territory here in game number 6. Is the building going to shut down? Maybe in 2026, there's earlier curfews and things like that. Maybe the air conditioning is going to shut off.
I kind of feel like it has. It's like really hot in here.
Yeah, honestly. I saw a fan sign, actually. Someone holding it up just said Towa, which just means hot.
Yeah.
And it is pretty hot. So this is my formal request if you want to crank the AC. That sounds fantastic, but I probably could have used different communication channels. As in they go, Lazy Feel already lit on fire as Namgung, he does this every time. Gets in there with his Ignite and presses the button.
Well, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, especially into the Alistar lane, and the Jin can't really do the shooting. He does it very slowly, so don't really get punished. So feeling very good about this. This Cocoon a little bit less good.
Yep, the level 1 Cocoon. Not a lot of harassment damage available for Namgung, but when you do transform, you can get a little bit.
And level 2 is right on the way.
Yeah. All right, they do just hold the wave, though, and it should be level 2 very, very quickly here for the Bros. And Andal and Lazyfield just won't be able to really do anything for quite some time, unless they get some jungle attention, as Namgung is just very capable of always trading up.
Yeah, can always dodge that turret shot with the repel. So could just walk forward and aggressively proc ignite like that. And he will continue to try to fish for these cocoons. If you hit another cocoon, and now level 2 is there, might actually be kill threat. As Lazyfield does not have barrier. Andal does still have his heal, but you know, early Alistar in the lane is not really doing anything but trying to hold on.
Yep. And yeah, even watching this lane is just kind of sad. As we have our first reset for UCal. We'll be
pretty
making
early.
his way back. Roamer actually in a very good standing in this lane right now.
Yeah, putting on a lot of pressure with this new Deathfire Touch rune.
Yep.
And will generate that teleport advantage very early on.
Casting looking to play aggressively on this Jace in these early levels. Obviously, we know that the Yorick is a bit more of a pick for later on in the game. As Lazyfield doing his best to last hit, but struggling a little bit as he does fall about a wave behind. Casting going in aggressively here, knocks Rich away from his turret. That Shock Blast also landing, and just a last Grasp proc.
Yeah, getting that Grasp.
Trave.
There
Did I
at
say
the end.
Trave? What is a Trave?
I don't know.
Weird.
It's a trade that you have. It's a trave.
A travesty. It wasn't. It was a great trade. So
not for Rich.
What I was thinking. Ah, maybe there were graves on the ground, and I was they got into my brain.
Remember Top Graves?
I do remember Top.
Remember
Graves.
Kana?
I was gonna say remember Kana. Do you know what Graves reminds me of? It reminds me of Kana and LGD Peanut.
Yep.
As Peanut had like that one pick that year that got success for him on that
Ooh,
spot.
Andil!
Yeah.
Run away!
Oh dear. Can they get this trade back? The answer is no. Trap does go down, doesn't get eaten. As the bros are actually going to have to back away here. And the Triumphant Roar is actually aptly named.
Yeah. He was like, we won.
Yeah.
Give me that heal. UCal is not having a good time.
No.
With this Taliyah pick. I am of the mind that Taliyah is very difficult to play in this meta. Just because you need your mid laner to either have a ton of really guaranteed zoning or CC, which Taliyah has the shove, right? But it's quite conditional on a lot of drafts, including this one, by the way, like in a massive way. Or you can do consistent damage, like the Victor. The Victor's like, I kind of do a little bit of CC. It's conditional, but I do a lot of damage, and I use this new rune incredibly well. Taliyah uses it okay.
Teddy was waiting for something, and obviously it didn't happen as he wanders out of the brush. And will be able to continue farming here, catches the wave, decides not to go back. I wonder what he's looking for, maybe a specific buy.
I think I also just want to kind of try to freeze this lane a little bit, and we'll get the backs out of Lazyfield.
Yep. Reset will come on through now from KRX just a little bit earlier.
A bit of a early Jarvan angle potentially down here to do something after this Krug clear. If Namgung and Teddy try to hard push this lane, is casting once again.
Yeah, just goes to the skies, gets the flash out from Rich. And Casting will be able to continue playing aggressively. However, there is UCal making his way up. Does have the Weaver's Wall available. And Casting gets wind of it, goes back in, thinking that he can find the 1v1 as he flashes over the Ghoulie Wall. And there is the shove for first blood. And Taliyah will be able to come in and save the day.
He's got that kind of knowing smile on his face. He was one auto away, I think, of taking Rich out there, but could not quite get it done.
There's such an awkward range as well, as Rich just sort of holds himself just out of Jace's auto range. And so Casting thought he could hit him, but actually couldn't hit him, and then flashed late, and that's probably why he lived.
Yeah, Rich was really selling that quite well. UCal comes up, and there's no communication, I think, from Roamer that this is a possibility because he's dealing with his own stuff in the mid lane, right? He's so focused on that and maybe what he can generate, but probably needs to be calling out to Casting like, hey, he's coming up. Maybe he did. We don't know, but Casting definitely did not seem like he was aware of this very strong possibility with the Taliyah missing.
Yeah, it kind of looked like that, but also looked a little bit like he was like, well, I'm going to die. As, yeah, it's a bit frustrated. Thought he could go for the 1-for-1 as Headbutt does get Namgung out of the Deadly Flourish. A little bit of anti-synergy there, but that is going to be all right.
It's like Willer is going to be the next one to try to annoy this Jace here on the top side of the map.
Yeah, Vision going to get cleared here as well as Casting, realizing that there are a lot of bad guys towards the top side. He has to be very, very careful as UCal catches this wave in the mid lane, and Roamer is going to use that as his opportunity to head back home. Does have a decent CS lead, but with First Blood going over to UCal, the money is there for the KRX mid laner. Overall, though, the Bros with about a 300 gold lead.
Big lead for Teddy. Namgoong's a little bit unleashed on the map, right? Like, he can start to move around and look for picks, look for, you know, flashes, stuff like that. But this Jace, you know, died early, generated a small lead, right? Still has the advantage there. But I think KRX's comp is really going to come online on real early skirmishes. Like, for example, if they wanted to fight for grubs right now, they would be able to set up and look for a good one here. I think if they are looking for second dragon here with a Weaver's Wall setup and Andil having his ultimate, that's where their comp is going to shine. And the fact that they've kept this game so close so quickly in this game, or rather they've gotten to a stable place in this game so quickly here, with UCal picking up that kill on the top side, feeling like they are definitely doing a lot better than I thought this draft would this early on.
Yeah, they have given up a Drake, so we have 3 minutes until the Ocean Dragon is going to be taken. Double Dragon for the Bros could be pretty nice here. And I do think both of these compositions can get stuff done later on in the game, except I'm worried for KRX's ability to do damage, right? Yeah. And so I think getting that first blood, very, very important. Continuing to be able to build some of these damage items, going to be a very important thing. As Lazyfield looks like he's going for Ghostblade as item number 1. Definitely very good for the early lane. But I'd like to see, you know, some big crit damage.
Big crit damage is necessary into this Poppy, especially. And the Talia just doesn't do a whole lot, especially with some of the tankier builds that are going around right now. Some of the Blackfire touch, or sorry, I did the wrong thing again. Deathfire touch. Yes, it's death. It's not black, it's death.
Yeah, Blackfire touch and Deathfire torch.
The Blackfire torch, or so, no, yes, okay, the Blackfire torch is purple. Why is it Blackfire if the purple fire is what it is?
Ooh, that's a very good point.
What's going on with that? I'm just asking.
Should be black, shouldn't it? Well, that's another angry letter that we're going to need to
I mean, it's a little bit tricky to make the fire black and like make the icon stand out because we got a lot of dark background.
Yeah, and then you can never see it at nighttime. It's pretty frustrating.
But why isn't it just the purple fire torch then?
Hey, true. That would have been fine. A bit more honest.
Yeah, torch with a black light doesn't sound great.
No. Well, it's purple too, isn't it? Why is it called a black light when it's purple?
Yeah.
It's all crazy, isn't it?
I have big questions, but I guess I'm not going to get my answers tonight.
No, maybe someone has answers in chat. So if you're worried about what the answer is or wondering what the answer is, you can probably refer to smarter people than are over there. As in the meantime, we do have the Bros in a pretty good position here and wanting to deny minions as well. Beautifully done there by Teddy. As the exhaust does go down, they want to punish. As the headshot comes in, Andil taking a fair bit of damage. He does have level 6 though, so it's not exactly like he's a killable target. Peacemaker comes in, Teddy will be able to clear out the last minion? No.
All right, it was a much better exchange than I expected with Andil eating the cocoon there on his engage. His casting gonna be fine here, no flash required.
Ghoulie Wall is just going to fall down to the turret. As casting gets the 50 gold, there it is.
I feel like Rich is trying to make something happen here that needs a little bit more attention. Willer's finally here.
Casting at 50%, will be able to deal with the minion wave as he does flash himself out of the way. Cataclysm as Willer could be in a whole host of trouble. Flash Cocoon, not going to quite work, but Namgoong, does he have the damage to get this double kill? As Rich in a bunch of trouble, the Q is going to heal him a whole bunch though, so Namgoong needs to be very careful.
I think it might be Roamer's kill. Okay,
extremely dead, yeah. There is nothing that he can do about that, so Namgoong is going to collect that one, and an assist goes over to casting.
Yeah, I think that was the right call. If he gives that kill over to the Victor, then this is definitely not worth. 2 kills going over to Elise versus they killed the Jace. Kind of feels pretty even. The Elise uses the gold really, really well moving into the mid game. As casting here knows that his Elise is coming up, right? Flashes the Ghoulie Wall, but then gets Cataclysm, which is like a second Ghoulie Wall, but it's like a rocky wall. And then Namgoong repels in, gets this first kill. Rich wants to try to make something happen here, but sees that it's just not possible, does not want to give the kill over to Roamer.
Yeah, I think it's really nicely played. I think Namgoong backing away was also quite smart, as Andil in there with the ultimate, wanting to make something of it. The flash pulverize not quite working out though, as Gideon with the steadfast presence flashes over the top of the deadly flourish, but now the curtains are being called. TDR going to need to be played here as Namgoong just wanting to take one of those bullets. Ace in the hole connects onto UCal as he was just minding his own business. Kind of rude just to snipe him. But still, the Bros keep everyone alive, and I'm not entirely sure who really won in that moment, as maybe now I'm going to figure it out.
I think KRX definitely in a strong position for this Dragon, as Andil is just using his health bar as a resource so well. Teddy!
Yeah, Teddy's just dead! He has the barrier, tries to get another shutdown onto Andil, but it's not going to work. As Keeper's verdict, the verdict is in, and the Poppy is not quite going to work. As now Yukao throwing rocks around, Deadly Flourish going to be avoided thanks to the Steadfast Presence, but that will be the Dragon secured for KRX as well. And the Bros still with a bit of a gold lead. Oh my goodness, it's a Hextech Soul.
Hextech Soul again here, and I mean, this is a lead for this Taliyah that's quite significant at this point, and it's going to be difficult to answer. As Andil, we skipped all the parts that he did that were really well to get them into this position. And then it's just Teddy trying to be relevant, trying to join with his teammates coming over, and he's just locked out by the Taliyah. Gideon's ult whiffs completely, and he is just free food as well. I think that like a lot of the heavy lifting in this fight was done by Andil though. Like he goes in, tanks all of the damage with his ultimate, is able to zone Teddy, prevent Teddy from getting in the way he wants to. He gets back over the wall, and then Teddy gets hit by Yukao's shove and wastes barrier, hoping he can survive. Teddy still has a lead here, but I do think that this Taliyah advantage is starting to become a very big problem.
Yeah, and there is the purple fire torch that you were talking about, Wolf.
Yeah, it's not black at all.
Nope. Although, actually, it is mainly a purple background.
Yeah, and also, like, the flames are kind of black, looking at it again.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little ambiguous, but not as bad as I thought in my head.
It might be a black torch, but in purple lighting. Okay, we'll solve that problem a little bit later, as Rich has a problem to solve of his own. As he looks to try and hold this wave away from the turret. The Coolie Wall kind of beautifully placed, with the Maiden going to be used to taxi Gideon over. And Teddy just wants to get himself some more money. He will start shooting Rich a whole bunch of times, and finally will be able to lock down that kill, as Casting will take the consolation 50 gold for the Maiden. Lazyfield in this bottom lane, though, is getting some work done.
Yeah, he gets some work done. It's not because he's Jhin and there's not that much of a wave. Like it's not like this is multiple waves stacked up or anything crazy. He's not going to be able to take this turret or get first brick. But also some of the jungle was taken away from Gideon here by Willer. Is Teddy in trouble? Question mark.
Yeah, Andil's just going to come on over and headbutt pulverize him, I'm pretty sure. And there it is. And Yukao going to throw a rock. There it is.
Okay, good prediction on what was going to happen there with the Alistair. And poor Teddy, getting a little greedy. And is punished. And this Taliyah, 3 kills. Kind of a problem. 6 stacks of Dark Seal. And they're going to, again, look to try to take Rich off the map here. They move the Jace to the other side, but now Willer is here, and I don't know if they can do more. Let's see.
Yeah, well, 3 versus 2. Rich taking down to 50%. I don't think they're going to be diving, but Andil is making his way in, gets the headbutt onto Namgung, and they all pile in on top, but he avoids so much. Willer's taken down first. And I think the target selection was just weird in that moment. Andil does have an unbreakable Will, but not an unbreakable Yorick, as Rich is taken down to 50%, as Roma rotating up towards this top side and wants to find Yukao, but Yukao's very, very strong. Doesn't find the shove as the wall comes through, interrupted immediately with that Arcane Storm. But still, Roma does just get himself out of there. Tantalizing minions were available.
Pretty lucky there, I think, in some ways for Yukao, but he played it well. Was able to escape, so neither of those middle laners get anything out of it. But Teddy's getting so much money. This is a big problem. And Casting with that kill onto the jungler can freely push this in now.
Man, they have taken
but just a cleaver.
So many plates.
Yeah, and like Teddy gets this whole turret. That's why he is collapsed on here by Yukao. So kind of worth for Teddy, to be honest.
The whole wave.
Especially with Yukao flashing here. And Teddy plays it well, but in life something is happening, or maybe something is not happening.
And
that pip is confusing me, but we do have a defensive Victor heading up. Now over here, you mentioned the target selection. So much damage is put into Rich, and then there's a bit of a disconnect here when Andil actually uses his unsealed teleport to go in. They're looking for Namgung, but he's an Elise, so he just kind of pieces, and then they turn this around with the ult coming through from Gideon. And a bit of a disaster on that one.
Yeah, they all just piled in on top of a Poppy, and then Casting gets into the brush, so he's the only real, like, threatening target as far as damage is concerned, but he gets himself out of vision, and then they do not press any buttons on top of him. It's Lazyfield going to take a bit of damage from Gideon here, just being frustrating. And the kill score has been evened out, but it's still close to a 2,000 gold lead here for the Bros, as they've taken these couple of turrets, and theirs are actually looking relatively healthy outside of the top lane, which only has that 1 plate remaining.
It's going to be a UCal ride or die, you know, 100%. He is going to be the one who has to carry and set up this game as Namgung's going in.
Yeah, Andal does get a pulverize for a little bit of a disengage here as Seismic Shove going to be avoided once again. This Elise value has been quite high as the Curtain Call not doing a whole lot at this stage of the game. The Rift Herald is going to continue to be taken here by the Bros. Traps are set up, and Gideon just threatens the ulti, and that will guarantee the objective. That is the beauty of Poppy. As we get later and later into this game, the Keeper's Verdict is really going to be a problem that KRX need to solve.
They really do. Rich is getting some work done in the side lane. Does take that turret out. Roamer uncontested, though, on the top lane right now, as we do have Hextech here as the Soul. You mentioned it earlier. Bro are going to be able to use this Herald here to threaten a second charge as well as get that turret, but they're not on the Dragon at all. It looks like they're just simply going to give this up. Late contest.
Yeah, there is the pile-in on top of Lazyfield. They do secure the Dragon, and Lazyfield, oh, it's Namgung that gets in on top. The Spiderlings, I think, got that work done. As now the Gravity Field going to lock down Andal, and this cow is outside of the paddock, and that is not where he wants to be. As Rich, he just takes a little bit of a Hex Gate, and UCal takes a wall, and they will make it to safety.
Pretty successful heist here, even though they don't get the Dragon. By the side of Hanjin Brion, they go on to Lazyfield here. Even the ace in the hole goes on top of him. And then Namgung's like, nah, he's not getting out here. Gets on top, gets the kill, and then is able to flash over the wall. And QMDRX don't have any tools to follow. UCal's on the wrong side of the fight, so Namgung is actually just going to get out scot-free. They get 2 kills here in exchange for that Dragon, which is not even the sole point just yet. It's significant that the Dragon goes over to QMDRX, but I think Bro are very happy with what they got in return.
Yeah, just giving away Double Dragon is not end of the world here for the Bros, and they've extended that lead by about 2,000, which is kind of ridiculous. Casting has done a bunch of damage in this game as well, as we can see, close to 15k, and isn't necessarily suffering like a lot of the Jaces that we have seen into the Yorick have been suffering, right? Just kind of avoiding the matchup as best he can now that that Trinity Force is done. Obviously, in a straight-up 1v1 later on in the game, after a few items put together, Rich will win. But Casting's still providing a lot of value as far as damage, especially in these team fights and
close
setups.
To that second item, and his tier is complete, practically.
Yep.
I like how Namgung is playing through the pressure points. Like, he's basically a second jungler in this game right now with this Elise, and he's just kind of roaming around, hiding in the right brushes. They have a lot of vision control over the bottom side of the map where the objective was, but it isn't anymore, so he doesn't need to go deep for vision. Can just kind of hang around and see if someone tries to make a play, or if not, if they don't respect that he's missing, he can find a cocoon. Speaking of, maybe Andal has overextended here.
Yeah, decent little pulverize. No stun from the heroic charge as Andal does pop the ulti. Buys a lot of time for his teammates as a shove. Connects onto Casting. He flashes though. He's going to get taken down by Willa, but Willa is going to be used by Gideon to get out and also dies in the process. A 1-for-1 trade, top laner for jungler. KMDRX looking for the angles though, and no repel here for Namgung means that he's very, very dead. In goes Gideon once again as he looks for the kill onto Andal. The Baron just watches! And now is going to get started by KMDRX.
Yeah, they spent way too many resources trying to look for this as Teddy, man. I don't know about a Peacemaker steal on this one. Maybe he can push UCal away.
There's no smite.
Roamer doesn't have TP, so...
Oh, wait, Andal does have smite. A smite.
Yeah.
A slightly worse smite.
Roamer can't TP in here either to impact the play. This is a risky contest from Teddy, but he's trying his best.
Well, let's see whether he can actually win. Teddy versus the smite from Alistair, and Casting looking for a bit of an angle here as he does go forward. Headbutt pulverize onto the Jace. 1 versus 4. I'm not sure about it. However, he does manage to take down the cow. And Teddy, a little bit late to the play, flashes in towards UCal as there is the barrier as well. Deadly Flourish is going to finish him off. And now Namgung, he's just going to have to get himself out. This game has devolved rapidly.
I feel like Hanjin have really tossed it, to be honest, Atlas, in some of these moments. Like, I understand the initial, like, let's go for Andal here. He's out of position, but they get his ultimate. I think at that point, you could be like, all right, well, that's pretty cool. Like, that's a big win. They can't do Baron. But they kind of keep sending it here, and then Lazyfield makes such a huge impact with his ultimate on the other side, and they're still trying to force. They're still trying to make this work, and they just get cut off. Teddy survives. Remember, their mid laner is not here and does not have teleport, so maybe just slowing QMDRX down instead of
This flash from Gideon was just insanity.
It was hopeful at best, I would say, as he gets close, but it's not even worth it if he gets the kill. And then Casting comes in here and sends it, but again, it's just Andil. He finally got it. Man, it's starting to feel like it's personal for Hanjin for getting this guy. And then Namgung shows up, but there's just not enough damage here as Teddy ends up eating this flourish from Lazyfield. And then they are like, let's send it on the Baron again, which does not work out, as we know. We're not going to go to that replay, because if we did, you know, maybe the inhibitors would be dead before we got back to live.
Yep. And we won't even be sure about whose inhibitors would be dead either, because it might just be that much time. It's 23 seconds on Soul Point here for KRX, and they also have this Baron that they're utilizing to get this push in the mid lane. I think that the Bros need to get their ducks in a row and actually find a good teamfight angle, and that's what Namgung was looking for, wanting to get a cocoon flank. But this Drake is going to be very important for the Bros to try and contest, and it's just going to be so hard.
It's hard to get
Baron
in.
on the map.
There are a few wards that we could see potentially Roamer teleport to, but he is the victor. I don't know if he really wants to be teleporting. He wants to be walking behind a non-existent front line. You know, like Gideon is technically a front line. He's got Dead Man's Plate. He's Poppy, but they just have to give this one up. And the Baron leads into it. That's Soul Point for KRX. And at this lead, like at this point, it's going to take a pretty big throw, I think, to get Bro back in this. Obviously, they have a lot of scaling elements in this draft. They have a Victor. They've got good wave clear. But it is just going to be so hard to fight through Weaver's Wall, right? Fight through this Alistair that's very tanky, who has Locket now, to get to Lazyfield, who has insane range, who can do damage, as we've already seen from so far away. And he's been having a great Jhin game here.
Really is. Teddy. Ace in the hole does fly out, but not really doing too much here. As KRX will finally take this inner turret in the mid lane with the last second of the Baron. And the Bros just trying to pick up the pieces of their destroyed base right now. Gideon does finally get back in to try and take down some of his own jungle. Will successfully do that. I don't think that this is over by any means, but it has now become so much harder for the Bros than it needed to.
Yeah. Makes you wonder if some of the weird decisions we've seen from them in this series are kind of some nerves, because Bros are actually like maybe Legend Group, you know, like they're maybe 5th place, and the stakes are so high that this KRX game might have turned into a bit of a trap game. And KRX are playing well, you know, and they're getting punished. As speaking of punished, Roamer is going to need to get over this wall.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall does come on down as, oh dear, Willer in a lot of trouble as Teddy is going to be able to take that kill. Andil finding himself a pulverize, but it's once again onto the Elise, who doesn't have the repel anymore. So a trade of 1 for 1, but jungler for support. You're probably happy about it if you are the Bros.
See if they can make something of this, though, because, I mean, yes,
there's not a lot for junglers to smite right now.
There's not a lot for the junglers to smite, and there's not a whole lot of real estate on the map here for Bro. Like, look at the wards for Bro. They have vision all over the top side of the map, but it doesn't mean anything. Roamer here is able to use his rocket belt to get over this wall, which is quite pivotal. Willer does not escape. He almost does, but the auto is in the air, and I'm going already repelled here, so Rich with a good punish. But the siege continues, right? I mean, there's no Bro escape just yet. They get the top wave to the halfway point of the map, but it's going to be 80 seconds until the next Baron spawns. Maybe at that point, we could see a Bro fight, especially if Roamer can put together a death cap, but I think he just got that second rod. He did. He just came out of the base, so...
Yeah, that's... okay, this could be an angle as Rich is in a lot of trouble. That Coolie Wall is not going to save him, and to the skies, casting sends him. Okay, good pick.
Good pick indeed.
Doesn't really mean a whole lot.
Again, it doesn't mean anything yet, right? But a few more of these, gold lead is already basically non-existent.
Let's see the gold graph. The Bros, they had started to build the advantage.
What I mean, they're able to get here potentially with these Hex Gates is a chase onto UCal, and this is casting here. Because there's no Yorick, he's actually opened up. He's allowed to play the game again for a minute inside, so getting a lot of value himself, looking for that third item. And we reset to 25 seconds until this Baron. Rich does have TP, and the Baron is guaranteed soul for KRX if they get it, and it's Chemtech soul, or rather Hextech soul, and Death Cap is done for UCal. We can't yet say the same for Roamer. It's getting closer and closer, but Would love to have that huge spike before we go into a potential Baron fight or a potential Baron take attempt where they look for a turn. They don't have enough control right now. They have a lot of vision where they are, but not where QMDRX are approaching from. UCal has both Weaver's Wall and his ult at the ready, and he is hard pushing that bottom lane with his new hat.
Weaver's Wall and his ult, you say?
Oh, sorry, and his teleport.
I like it. All right, QMDRX.
It's a late 6-gamer, okay? It's my first time this season.
It certainly is. I was trying to listen to you and pay attention with a melted brain, and I was struggling. That was the only thing I actually heard, which doesn't make me a very nice person, I don't think, just to nitpick and otherwise not understand. It's okay. The Bros now finally pushing themselves out on the map. Teddy netting forward.
Roamer has his death cap.
I'm scared of Andil. As UCal going to put the wall on through. As Teddy, in a little bit of an alcove, will be able to keep himself alive. So the
That's a big ult.
Now on cooldown.
Yeah, big ult gone here. And now QMDRX can't necessarily warp the architecture of the map the way they want to. And Teddy and Roamer are pretty huge right now.
Rich is also pretty large as there's some flash outs and some flash ins as there is the unbreakable will from Andil on cooldown. The curtains have been called, but unfortunately the show continues. The KRX.
A lot of damage potential here for Hanjin Breon if they can close the gap here. Roamer under way less threats now. It's really only the Jarvan he has to worry about.
Not to mention they have the poke advantage, right? These shock blasts are really going to start to hurt the Peacemakers if they can hit the mark and certainly be dangerous. But they've started off the Drake as there's the Hex Flash in. Somehow Andil made that one work as they do get the ward over as Teddy finally will be able to take him down. Roamer is also dead though. Willa taken out with a headshot as Teddy finds two. And the Keeper's verdict is in. And it's that the Bros should be able to win this one. UCal trying to get in, but he has to make his way out. Lazyfield running down the river. And Teddy has a bullet with his name on it.
UCal has TP. See if he can come over here and try to save Lazyfield. He's backing right now. We'll get his health back. They find him.
Yeah, Teddy should be able to lock this one down.
He's pinging for UCal. He's pinging for UCal. UCal's coming.
Yeah.
It's so slow though.
Yeah, he should be taken down as now UCal in a bit of trouble as well. But he's buying so much time. They need to do the Drake.
Yeah, and now he's got his Weaver's Wall back as well, so he can maybe make something of this.
Oh, God. Well, the backs are now going to come on in, and they do make it to safety.
Hex
That's
gates mean they can get right back. I mean, Hex gates mean both teams can make it right back. Because like you say...
You want to repeat?
Yeah, I guess we're going again.
I got another one for you.
This time, UCal is going to have his Weaver's Wall. He used it in a weird, awkward spot moments before.
And Andil has the unbreakable will back again. Like, so Pro will be able to get first.
QMDRX decide...
They don't need
this one, and they don't have enough control, so they back away. This fight is wild. Initially, Roamer gets blown up because Andil sets up Lazyfield. They have the instant root, and he is blown up. But on the other side of the fight, things are falling apart. Willer does end up dying here, and Teddy is just untouched. He kills Rich. Lazyfield's pushed out, and the fight is, at that moment, won. Now, UCal wants to try to bail Lazyfield out, and some shenanigans do ensue, but ultimately, Bro get their second dragon of the game. It's not even there. Hextech soul point, but they get Baron, Prio.
I need Bro to get the next dragon. As Weaver's Wall going to come on in here. Gravity Well does come on down. As Namgung goes into the sky, Deadly Flourish doesn't find him. So he will be able to make it out to safety without having to invest too much of anything.
Yeah, they don't really get a whole lot with that. I mean, it's not the longest cooldown at level 3, the Weaver's Wall, but still.
Teddy is just so big now, Wolf.
He is.
This is what I'm really worried about. And I think this reminds me a lot of that T1 versus Gen G
game. Yeah.
Yeah, the Pays game, where he was not as effective in the mid-game. Like, as the classic trough situation that we talk about all the time dictates. And now Teddy is through it as well, and he's starting to get into this devastating position.
There are a lot of threats for him, but his positioning has been super good. It's Roamer who's been caught more often, but... You know, that's his first time he's actually died for it, but Teddy here in this mid-game is so big that if they try to kill him and fail, it's going to come at a heavy cost. Even Andil is not safe, especially when he doesn't have his ultimate. He does now, and the Weaver's Wall is coming back here, and maybe with the Weaver's Wall, they can once again look for a split here of the Bros, try to take Hanjin Breon at a 5v3, deny the damage dealers from getting in. As we're not really seeing a whole lot of casting poke landing here either.
No, they don't have a lot of vision, as we can see, as this control ward He's in the brush for KRX. Going to look to try and clear out this one if he can, but the rest of the bros will show up to try and deny it. I do want to, okay.
That was a close call.
Yeah. I do want to say one thing.
Yes.
I saw just a really confusing Brotax donation by Sir Roby, as I'm going to have to hold that thought as Cataclysm comes down. Willow with the flag and drag trying to knock up Romer. He gets himself out with the flash, and the Guardian Angel is now on cooldown. Namgung, not sure about that position as he goes into the sky. And that last bullet not going to connect. The curtains have been called as KRX. They just slink back to the Baron.
Romer has TP. This is pretty greedy here for KRX. There's the TP. They're going to try to look for the pincer here. Namgung also pushing forward.
There's a flash. Namgung, and he's by himself. The pulverize comes through, and Teddy's just thrown into the blender. Why did you go in without any teammates?
That was so weird. That was so weird. That made no sense. That made no sense.
I don't get it, but I'm really tired too, so maybe I don't blame them.
I mean, Teddy, at this point, like, if Namgung just dies there, maybe it's a sacrifice that's worth it, and Romer can show up and they can do something, but instead he just kind of sends it, doesn't have flash. So we'll go all the way back to this moment here where they're pushing through. Willer comes in, but there's so much damage here. He just actually loses his GA. This is without Teddy being here. And then in the ensuing fight, the ultimate is also used for Lazy Field. So I thought, okay, if they are quick with no Jhin ult here, no Cataclysm, maybe they could punish, but Namgung is perhaps a bit too quick on the trigger finger, and he goes in on the Yukao, and Teddy just walks into the waiting arms of Andil.
And they knew where they all were. Like, they had the scrying orb down.
Yeah, I think a bit of nerves, perhaps. Like I was saying before about Bro, they're about to break 50. Like, if they won this series, which was the expected result, they hit 7-7, right? They go to 5th place. They make it to the west side. That's not a place where Bro has really been. Outside of like week 1, week 2, you know, those rogue early times.
There is a chance that they can still turn this, but
I don't know. I mean, it's gonna have
such a difficult position they're in now.
It's gonna have to be some sort of crazy setup from Namgung, maybe. I mean, Romer's got a lot of wave clear to buy time, but there's still 2 minutes left on this Baron, and they are knocking on the door. A little bit of extra poke coming through from Teddy, but Andil still has his ult, and I don't think he's that concerned. He's even got Cleanse at the ready here.
The biggest problem is this Hextech Soul. It's going to be up in 30 seconds for KRX. And right now, look at them. They're just making sure that the bros cannot enter their own jungle here on the southern side, keeping everything as dark as they can. The bros finally able to move up this lane. But Rich is just being a menace in the side lane as well.
I think KRX should be a little bit more focused on trying to control the entry points of the Dragon instead of trying to outpoke this Jace comp here. I mean, the Jace isn't where they're fighting in the 4v4, but it's a lot of wave clear. Now, finally, they will kite back to the Dragon as it's spawning here. There's no TP angle, right? Casting is the only one who has it, and there's no ward for him to go to. Are they just simply going to give this up?
They have to.
They have to now, for sure. And, I mean, even with the Poppy ult, I guess it's probably the safest option, but now you're giving over Hextech Soul, and that's never safe, frankly.
Casting, that was a dangerous little run up the lane. As, Hextech Soul in KRX's hands. And I was talking about the draft before. I was saying, like, there could be a lack of damage. Well, absolutely not anymore. Especially not with how fed Yukal had gotten this game. Lazyfield is also building towards item number 5. And this Jhin is really, really frightening.
Okay, Willer looking for an angle here. Oh, the Weaver's Wall.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall. Teddy going to get hit by the curtain call. But the main thing that they wanted was this inhibitor turret. And that will be going down.
Baron's fading. Baron is fading here. I mean, the wave clear from Romer is really coming up big. They haven't gotten an inhibitor yet.
My God, Teddy actually hurts so much.
He really does. Like, I mean, they're going to get the second inhibitor turret, but they need to get an inhib.
Holy Wall goes down, and there's the Keeper's Verdict. It gets rid of the Yorick, but they take down the Poppy as well. Even Romer doing a lot of damage now. But without that addition to the front line, it's so difficult. Yukao, oh my God, just takes so much. But Casting has to get out of there. There is a dead Victor once again, and Teddy just cannot finish any of these kills. Oh, it's so frustrating for this Caitlyn. Everyone walking away with barely any health as in goes Casting running real quick. It's Lazyfield now just going to flash on in. Teddy needs to get to the fountain, but the flash shovel is going to pick it up, and KRX, they are going to be able to take down the pros here in game number 3. An absolute marathon of a series, but they will be able to claim it and stop the winning streak of the pros and create one for themselves. Aggressively. And absolutely sprightly as UCal as well. All right, there it is. We are going to have best celebration, and maybe UCal is going to win it. He also just got one shot.
This gets a little bit messy here at the end.
Oh my god.
Because the damage is unreal, but the slow, like the Hextech Soul, you can see on display here how much value it has. Look at how much damage Teddy eats here after being slowed. And it's just desperation to try to hold as casting gets caught.
Yeah, wow.
UCal's like, please!
There's composure. I think that's because most of them have lost their voice.
It's a very long series as well. Like, it was a 6-game day, it was a 3-game series, but a very long 3-game series as well.
Yeah, UCal certainly looking very relieved after that one. And we saw Naeon actually come up and congratulate him there. And even after the game, yes, he looked excited and happy and got his celebration in, but otherwise, I think he just wanted to go to bed. As Rich, fair bit of damage, casting a whole bunch more. Teddy also absolute heroism, but it's not about damage to champions that wins the game. It's damage to Nexus.
Look at the gold graph, how wild it was, how tumultuous this final game was. It looked like KRX had it on lock early, but there was a big comeback, right? A lot of big fights getting Romer and Teddy online. UCal will ultimately pick it up for a deathless Rise and Talia set back-to-back. He was my vote as well. I thought was the most consistent performer, even though there were some great moments from Rich, Andal having that great third game, and Willer honestly having a ton of objective control. Yeah. Like, Willer did have a really, really impactful game. We sang the praises of Gideon. Obviously, in the early game in Game 1, he did really well, but otherwise, it felt like Willer had his number for the rest of the series.